This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I am Mike Murphy, host of the Good Neighbor Podcast. We talk to local business owners, influencers, entrepreneurs, so that you can know them as the humans that they are and not just logos on a business card. And I've got a couple humans with me today, Jenn and Tim Yelvington. And let me just say, if somebody asks you, can you dig it? Your answer should always be, yes, I can. I can dig it, you can dig it, we all can dig it because of these two. So you might be wondering, what are you talking about, Murph? Well, let's have Tim and Jenn talk about that. So Tim and Jenn, welcome to the podcast, and tell us about Can You Dig It? What is Can You Dig It?
Sure. Well, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure. Can You Dig It is sort of a new brainchild. I saw a video online and it sparked my interest. So Can You Dig It is an RC construction site delivered to you. So we do birthday parties, events. We'll be at all the local fairs this summer, and it allows children and adults who are children at heart to come in and play with remote control excavators, front loaders, construction equipment. We also have 4x4 RC crawlers, so there's obstacle courses and lots of things to do. We have buried treasure in the pit, so kids can find gems.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay.
And so it's pretty engaging. It's a brand new business for us. I saw a video about a company that does it in a cafe online in Dubai, and I fell in love with the idea. I've loved remote control cars since I was a kid. I mean, they were everything when you were a kid to get something remote control. And I just, so far the response has been great. We started by doing a couple of private events for friends and family, and children responded to it really well. I mean, we were able to keep children's attention who had tablets sitting a few minutes away. So it's nice to see them engaging in it and using their hands to dig and build things. So
yeah, I hadn't even thought about that aspect of it. I mean, I've got grandkids that are just glued to their tablets, and
aren't we all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of the same thing. But that video that you referenced, seeing this cafe in Dubai, I might have seen the same video because I saw maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks ago that same concept, and I thought, how cool is that? But never knew where I could experience that around here. Yep. Then lo and behold, suddenly
here we are.
So
sort of the same thing, the same feelings I had when I saw that video. I was like, man, that is really neat. We have an 11-year-old that we raised in this area. I would have spent all my time in a cafe like that working and while she was playing with these toys. It was just a no-brainer for us. The end goal is still to stand up a cafe and bring this concept to the United States. But for now, we're testing the concept. So we've built this mobile platform where we have a 8 by 20 foot trailer that we've built a fully engaging pit inside of that. The children and adults stand around the outside and use the toys for as long as they want.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I personally am looking forward to trying it, obviously.
Sure. We'll be at Boone County Fair all next week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, because you've got 2 events coming up. You've got the Boone County Fair coming up all next week.
Sure.
June 23rd through 27, I believe.
Correct.
4 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then in August, you've got the Alexandria Fair.
Correct.
So that's August 27th through September 1st. So people that are listening to this podcast that are thinking like me, like, oh my God, I can't wait to get my hands on this. They've got a couple opportunities, Boone County Fair or the Alexandria Fair coming up. Plus, we'll make sure that people know where to visit you on your website.
Sure.
So that they can schedule, an event, a birthday event or whatever, and you bring the trailer out to them, right?
Yep. So they can reach us at canyoudigitrc.com. And they can get more information there, as well as contact us and start the conversation. Our event packages start, as a basic, just showing up with the trailer for a 2-hour event, and then we can customize it to your desires from there, all the way from, extending the session to adding different toys, and as well as providing baked goods that are themed for your event.
Okay, very good. And you said there's a treasure or trinkets or something buried in the sand. Is that correct?
Sure. It's one of the contests that we run to keep people engaged, but also it gives a little bit of an edge and something to do when you're digging in the dirt. So we've hidden gems, jewels, and pirate doubloons throughout the pit, and there are different levels of prizes for the ones you find.
Very cool. So I assume both of you have tried all the various different pieces of machinery. Who's better at it?
Okay. We had an interesting experience. We were at the Gallatin County Fair last week, and I've been learning to use them, but I'm in no way an expert on them. And a gentleman came with his children, and they signed up for a session so that his kids are playing, and one of his children handed him the remote, and it turns out he is an excavator operator in real life. That's what he does 9 to 5. And he picked up the remote, and you should have seen his face light up. He goes, "These controls are the same." And
Whoa.
2 minutes later, he had dug this gigantic hole, and I'd never seen anyone operate it like that.
It was the best.
So it's encouraging to know that, I don't do this stuff for a living. So to talk to people who do, and to find out that the controls are similar, only strengthen the idea in my mind, because one, to teach children these controls at a young age only gives them a leg up in the industry. And then adults, if this is what they do for a living, the challenges are even more intriguing for them, because they can really bring their skills to the table.
Yeah, it can really spark an interest early on in kids, and where it will lead.
Yep.
So, okay, so what do you guys, I assume you're not machine operators for a living, in terms of you're not out there running excavators and whatnot. So Jen, what do you do? What's your 9 to 5?
I work for a company called Simco Electronics. We do calibration. So we bring government equipment back into full spec.
Okay. Not many people know what that means, and it kind of
it is very niche.
Yes, it is.
Right.
It is.
Right. But I'm sure you're very good at it, though.
It's one of those jobs where most of the people that work there are ex-military, because that's where they learn the skill set working for the government. So, interesting organization.
And then, so Tim, what about you? What do you do for your 9 to 5?
I run the support and services group for a company called Jupiter Systems. We make video wall processors and hardware and software to manage your content. Okay.
So you guys are both kind of in these techie type consulting engineering type worlds, but you get to let your brains play through the Can You Dig It concept, which I think is appealing to all of us, whether we are working at home or working outside the home, doing whatever we do to make a living. I think it's always important, no matter what age you're at, to let your brain play.
Agreed.
Especially when you get to be my age. It's like you literally, the more you play, the more the more you're supporting your brain power, and keeping the synapses firing and all that stuff.
Brain health.
Yeah, we agree. And that's one of the things we love about this concept, is it really just isn't a children's thing. It's not like we're building a playground. These toys are serious toys. The remote control excavators and machines that we have are serious toys. They're 1/14 scale, full metal. In fact, that was one of the biggest shock factor for anyone who came by the booth so far at Gallatin, was they would pick up, we have some of the machines kind of out on display so people know what's going on, and people come by and pick them up, and they're just blown away by how heavy these things are.
They were expecting
solid, they're solid machines. So
they're expecting like the little metal.
Yeah, they're expecting toys, right? They're expecting toys. And so, it's really geared for all ages. And that's what we've been finding as we test it out. Everybody sort of enjoys this theme and loves playing with these toys.
Okay. So you mentioned the word dirt earlier, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is it sand and not dirt that you're moving, or? Okay.
Yes. So we have the pit's filled with sand, and then we have faux rocks and a suspension bridge and some other obstacles for the 4x4 crawlers.
Okay. So you've got this trailer full of sand, and what I'm assuming are very expensive pieces of equipment, correct?
It's
Yes.
a good
So-
assumption.
So what if it rains?
So on a general basis, if we were doing an event, we have our own tent to cover it up. So we're fully enclosed in that regard. So there's no worries there. If the weather's nice, then, it can be open air. Most of the machines are actually rated to get a little wet. If it was torrential, you might have a problem. The pit itself has, moisture in it because you have to keep the sand at a certain level of moisture to make it plausible to dig in. Otherwise, it's just kind of caving in on itself, and you end up with a pile of sugar sand. So, all of us, we're learning as we go, right? So even the what material do we put in it has been an adventure, right? Because you only have so many things, and you said dirt, and that was obviously one of the things we considered, but dirt is dirtier, right? So you're dealing with
There's dirty.
right? Sand is, you can wipe sand off pretty easily.
Yeah,
almost
dirt is
things,
different
so.
when it gets wet.
Right.
Right.
And it's interesting because it's such a new concept, especially at a fair. People walking up don't really know what to expect, right? So we have this trailer, and then of course we have a platform, aluminum platform next to it, so children who aren't tall enough can walk up onto the platform and
Very
see
good.
the pit better. So it's very accommodating. But the younger children will climb up to the platform, look into this what looks like a gigantic sandbox filled with, because we have all these decorations and construction themed items in there. So they just see sandbox, and immediately the leg goes over the side, and they're trying to climb into the pit.
Of course.
So we have to explain. No, take a step.
So how many pieces of equipment do you have operating at any given time?
So we can run comfortably in the pit 6 to 8 sessions, depending on the skill level of the people operating the machines and how engaged they're into it. We have 4 pieces of heavy machinery. We had 6. Unfortunately, one of the things we learned along the way was the dump truck that we bought doesn't really do well in the sand. So it's kind of like it's too heavy and it sinks. And so you either had to make the pit ideal for the dump truck, and then it wouldn't be ideal for everything else, or we just had to kind of give up on the dump truck. And these toys are so specific. You have really low end stuff that is obviously made for children that's not geared for this. And then you have really high end stuff for people who are enthusiasts and hobbyists and things like that who are really into it. And then, the middle ground, there are some good places. The machines we have are about the best machines you can get in electric motors, and after that you have to go into hydraulics, which if this all tests out, we'll get hydraulics because it'll make more sense. But so right now we got a little off track. We have 2 excavators, 2 what they call wheel loaders, front loaders, and then we have 8 different 4x4 vehicles that we can mix in and out. And then I'm still looking for a good dump truck solution, but haven't found one yet.
Yeah, well, while you were explaining all that, I could kind of see the gears turning in your brain, and that's fine because it's tied to passion.
This is a passion project. We fell in love with this thing, and we've been full bore.
Having said that, I get the impression, you saw that video of the Dubai experience, the cafe, whatever. I'm assuming you went to Jenn with this idea. Hey, what about ... So Jenn, if it in fact happened that way, what was your response?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Which was comforting because it's not always
It wasn't. What are you talking about? Or this is crazy. Or you're nuts.
No, it literally made sense. My thought was getting kids off of tablets.
Okay.
And this was a beautiful idea. So
I can hear parents all across Northern Kentucky clapping their hands right now and saying, "Yay, Jenn."
So, like I said, that's the long-term goal, is to turn this into a cafe concept so that, parents have a place to take their children where they can engage with, real hands-on experiences with toys that otherwise are cost prohibitive if you're not, into it as a hobby and willing to spend the kind of money.
Yeah.
There's so many stay-at-home moms now that, just they drop some of their children off at school and then want to have something to do afterwards. And, I want to be that spot for them to go to have a little bit of sanity, maybe some coffee, get some work done,
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess who knows what the future is going to look like in terms of how all of that plays out and what you settle on and what's kind of your pocket that you figure out is the best incarnation of this idea, which the sky's the limit, in terms of how you could execute this.
Yeah, and to that point, I think the mobile concept that got flushed out of this idea, right? Because we started with the idea of the cafe, and the mobile concept came from the idea of we just needed a way to test this. But if it works and people love it, I love having the idea of replacing the quote unquote boring old bounce house to something more engaging for birthday parties and events. We just at the Gallatin County Fair, we had 2 different conversations with other small local companies, one farm and tractor store, and then another insurance company. What was the second one?
It was P&G.
P&G. Thank you.
Okay.
And just discussing, bringing this out to their events, when they have family days and different events at their facility, bring this out, it works perfectly.
Yeah, I could see having your trailer out in the parking lot of a Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
And people are there, kind of in that frame of mind anyways. And you're going to get more adults, but there's going to be kids tagging along there too. But to that point, what percentage of people that have kicked your tires, so to speak, what percentages are children versus adults? Sure.
So the only data we have so far are the private events we had, which were mostly kids, and the adults all try it, right? Everyone picks up the remote once, and then at the fair it was pretty balanced. The kids engage, right? So the kids are the ones who are like, "Mom, Dad, look at this," and then when the parents come over, then it's like, oh, what's going on? And, the session starts. Eventually, one of the parents ends up with a remote in their hand, especially if the dad's there. He usually ends up giving it a try. But the customer base so far has been mostly children.
Okay. And it's one of those things.
We actually had sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, go ahead.
We had a group of 3 or 4 college-age boys come to the Gallatin County Fair, and they all saw it and liked it. And, after a few minutes of them talking about it and joking about it, they all bought a session. And so then the 3 or 4 of them are all playing and digging and running the machines, and they start saying to each other, and then they look at us and they go, "You really need to bring this thing to like one of the college bars and set it up outside." And I'm like, I'm not sure I'm looking, I don't know about that audience, but that's the engagement we're getting. Everybody loves the idea. These are universal sort of truths especially for young men and boys, and like who doesn't love digging, and now it's becoming much more cross-gender. So we had several little girls pick up the remote and do have sessions. So
engaging, that's a good word. I mean, because people can't stop out of curiosity and watch it for a while without wanting to do it themselves. You just can't help it.
That was actually one of the coolest things we saw at the first public event at the fair was, it was a very small fair, which we knew going in, it was a test run for us, but you get two kids up there and the giggling starts and they're playing, and next thing you know, the whole trailer is surrounded by people watching and what is this? What do you guys got going on?
Yeah.
And then, so great conversations all around, all very positive, positive feedback from everybody. Everybody seems to be, supportive and in love with the idea. So we're looking forward to Boone County because that's going to be a big one. It's a big fair.
One thing I have to wonder about is, have you ever had to police people just because they want to turn it into bumper cars or BattleBot?
The young kids tend to more than anybody else. They like to jump the 4x4s like off the rocks, and so we spend a lot of our time flipping the machines back over, because they like to flip them over and laugh. The construction machines, most people have been pretty good with them. I did have one kid who he got bored of digging, and this is in the early days when we were testing with friends and family, he got bored of digging, and we only had one 4x4 vehicle at that time. So there were no other options. And so he didn't want to dig. So he just started running the front loader into other people. And I was like, we need more 4x4s. So now that we have plenty of 4x4s, what tends to happen, the younger kids will come start a session. They immediately are drawn to the excavator or the front loader because they're just cool and engaging toys.
Right.
And then, but they are, for a certain age, if you're not maybe 8 or 9, it's going to taper off pretty quick, I've found, unless the child is just really into it. Like we had one boy come back every day at the Gallatin County Fair. So he came every single day and had at least 2 sessions. Oh yeah. And he was just happened to be really into it. So we're going to find passionate people like that. But for the sort of standard user, we're finding that, they do a few minutes on the excavators and those toys. And then the 4x4 stuff is what keeps them ready.
So that kid's going to be a professional one day.
Oh yeah.
You helped him find his passion.
I hope so. If we run into him in 5 years, 10 years, and he's down that path, I'd be happy.
So before we go, I just want to know one thing.
Sure.
In the pre-interview, I found out that you have an 11-year-old daughter, correct?
We do.
So what does she think of it, and how well does she do at maneuvering these machines?
She's actually been great.
Yeah.
She loves the idea too. Her and her friend both helped us out at the Gallatin County Fair. So they were sort of our operators. They would help the people with the remote, show them, change them out. So the idea is you buy it at the fairs anyways. When we're set up in that regard, someone buys a session, and then they're free to use whatever machines are available for the duration of that session. So her and her friend Hannah were very helpful in helping switch out remotes and keep things moving.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, she loves it.
When people come and see you at the Boone County Fair and at the Alexandria Fair, they will have an opportunity to book you to come to one of their events. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you're ready to actually go that far with this concept, that you've got it down to be able to take it out to locations unknown.
We're 100% self-sufficient, right? Like I said, the trailer's self-sufficient. We have all the accessories and everything organized and packed up. So we show up, takes us about half hour to set everything up and get ready to go, and then you can run remote control vehicles all day.
So birthday parties, neighborhood parties and events, fundraising events.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things like that. Okay. All right.
Yep. We can set up either way. We can set it up if you're having an event and you want to, pay us to be at the event, and then, sell the service or sell entry to it or whatever the case may be, however you want to market it. We can help market it. Or we can, like we do at the fairs, we set up and then sell as per session. So we're currently scheduled for the 2 events you've mentioned, the Boone and Alexandria Fair. But we're also in talks with several other events that we're trying to get on board for, because that's the idea this summer, is we just really want to hit the ground running and test this as much as we can and get as much traffic on it, see how the machines are going to hold up, see what kind of long-term maintenance costs and things like that are going to go into this. So we're really trying to push hard. So yeah, absolutely ready for events. We're 100% ready to go. Okay.
Well, we'll leave all the worrying and all the details up to you two.
It's been a lot.
We just want to have fun.
Yeah. Come out and see us. We'd love to get your opinion and see what you think.
Well, that was the intent of today's podcast, is just to get out ahead of this Boone County Fair experience. I'm going to put this out on social media ASAP so that people can know what you've got going and can come visit you and try it out for themselves and book you for their events.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks for taking the time to sit down. I know you guys are busy. You've got your 9-to-5s. You've got other things cooking. I know you said you're leaving on the heels of this podcast to go buy a truck. Is that correct?
Yes. So that was, again, lessons learned. We have a Ford Explorer, which is very perfectly fine car until you're trying to tow a 6,000-pound trailer of sand. It does okay, but it's not going to last long term. So we got to go back to an F-150.
Yeah, the amount of sand required for that, I'm sure, is pretty heavy.
Yes. And to your question earlier, if it does rain or get wet, the weight almost doubles until it dries.
Yeah, you're right. It holds the water. Okay.
Yeah. So it's everything in life is a trade-off.
Well, once again, that's for you guys to worry about, not us.
Yes. Let us worry about it. You guys just come out and have fun. And that's honestly, for us, we were just talking about today with an old friend we were catching up with. That's been the best part of this. To watch these kids play with these toys is just so much fun. The giggling and the laugh, they have so much fun. Even like when they are sort of, running them off the side and purposefully tipping them over, they're just having a blast in a way that I don't think kids really get to experience anymore. When we were first workshopping this idea, that was one of the things I said to Jen. I said, I don't even think kids really ask for RC stuff from their parents anymore for birthdays or Christmas. When I was a kid, that was all anybody wanted was remote control stuff. And so I think there's been a little bit of loss there. So hopefully we can re-spark some of that joy. Well,
we're all interested in seeing it in person. So Boone County Fair is coming up, everybody. We want you all to go and visit with Tim and Jen and see the Can You Dig It experience. Before we sign off, I want to make sure people know that when they're going to canyoudigitrc.com, the U it's the letter U. Can the letter U dig it rc.com.
That's it.
And there's some photos on that site just to kind of get a little understanding of what some of the machinery looks like and the experience. And people can sign up to have an event right there on the site as well too, right?
Yes, sir. And they can also, it links to our Instagram page. So if they click through to that, there's pictures and videos from our last gala.
So do you have Facebook and Insta?
Right now, just Instagram and YouTube. Okay. We don't have much content on YouTube. Again, one of the things we learned at the last fair was, you get caught up in working, and then all of a sudden your rush is over and you're like, oh man, that would have been great to record a bunch of content. So we have very little live action shot, but we're working on it as we go.
All right. Well, again, you're learning as you go.
Yep.
And we in the community are going to help you learn.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Well, very good. Real quick, phone number to reach you. What would that be? What's the best number to call you at?
Sure. It's
what is it? 859.
488-1094.
1094.
Sorry. 859-488-1094.
Yeah, it's a good thing I did my homework before this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So again,
glad you did.
So much of this stuff is new, all the contact information and even the URLs. We probably own 5 different Can You Dig It versions of the URLs as the idea flushed out.
Spoken like a true entrepreneur. I probably own 80 URLs right now.
Well, we're looking forward to making this work.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. And we want to help you make it work. Well, thanks for spending time with us today. It's been nice to getting to know you two and to hear all about Can You Dig It. I'll be at the Boone County Fair. I'll look for you. I will try my hand at it. I will bring my grandson and granddaughter and look forward to seeing you two in person at the fair.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you out there. Thanks for your time. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So I'll say before we sign off here, this is the Good Neighbor Podcast. So everybody out there, until we see you next time, please be good to your neighbor. So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.